Our next inductee played for Coach Ditka on the legendary 1985 Super Bowl championship Bears, became one of the most outspoken and memorable players in NFL history. This is Steve McMichael.
Steve Mongo McMichael was born in Houston, Texas. He attended Freer High School in Texas and was one of two to make all-state football in 3 different positions, all within the same year. He then went on to attend the University of Texas, where he played for the Longhorns. In 1979, the defensive team he helped lead allowed less than 9 points per game. He graduated from Texas as the university's all-time leader in career tackles with 369 and 30 sacks. After his college career, he was unanimously voted to make first-team All-American. In 1980, McMichael was drafted to the New England Patriots, but a year later, as a free agent, he was picked up by the Chicago Bears. He was a part of the 1985 defensive team that led the Bears to winning Super Bowl 20. He was named to consecutive Pro Bowl teams in 1986 and 1987. One of his most memorable moments was in 1991 against the New York Jets, where, with less than 2 minutes left in the game, McMichael forced a fumble and recovered the ball at the Jets' 36-yard line. From there, Bears QB Jim Harbaugh threw a touchdown to tie the game and sent it to overtime, where the Bears claimed their victory. Bears coach Mike Ditka said in 2005 that McMichael was the toughest player he ever coached. He spent 13 seasons with the Bears, winning 6 Central Division championships as well as a Super Bowl. McMichael retired as a 5-time All-Pro selection and holds the Chicago Bears record for most consecutive games played at 191. He played his final season in the NFL with the Green Bay Packers in 1994. In his 13 seasons with the Bears, McMichael totaled 814 tackles with 92.5 sacks. For his career, McMichael finished with 838 tackles and 95 sacks. In July of 2010, he was inducted into the College Football Hall of Fame. In 2007, he started his career as a coach for the Chicago Slaughter, a part of the Indoor Football League. He remained with the team through its final season in 2013.
Good evening, everyone. It's Jimbo Covert, and I'm here to congratulate my teammate, Steve McMichael, on his election to the 2019 Gridiron Greats Class Hall of Fame, which he richly deserves. Said this many times, practicing against Steve made everybody better on both sides of the ball. Because when you practice against Steve, you better bring your lunchbox, and you better bring another lunchbox for the guy next to you and the guy next to him, because Steve's going to bring it all day long. And we've already established that Steve's a tough guy. But like I told him, Steve McMichael is the toughest guy south of the picket wire next to me. But nobody, and I mean nobody, for a 5 or 6 year period played the inside tackle position in the NFL better than Steve McMichael, and I exclude nobody. So this award is a very richly deserved award for a great football player, one of the greatest of all time, Steve McMichael. Congratulations, Steve.
Steve and his wife Misty live with their daughter Macy in Romeoville, Illinois.
The Gridiron Greats are proud to induct Steve McMichael into their Hall of Fame.
Thank you for standing, because I'm too old to be humble now. This is what I want to say about my mentor, Mike Ditka. Because you know that Mongo character fooled them all, didn't they, Turley and Hippo? You know, when you get them to underestimate you, that's their ass, isn't it? But my mentor here, let me quote a great writer named Walt Whitman, who wrote what he embodies to me when he said, "Captain, my captain." Do you guys understand that? This is what every guy in this room, I don't care how old you are, my contemporaries, because it is your lot in life to be a mentor to the next generation. You understand what I mean, people? Children learn. Just like I was a child when I came to the Bears. I was already a grown man, but youthful and ignorant, because, boy, did I make a lot of mistakes. It was the first day in training camp. We were in Platteville, Me and Hampton and the boys, we didn't care about curfew. So we're going out. Well, we went into this little restaurant that had a bar, still open. Thought, well, we'll be in there by ourselves. We walked in, and there he sat himself. And he didn't tell us, get back to the dorm. You got curfew. You know what he told us? Come on in, boys. This is going to be the most expensive drink you've ever had. And fine the hell out of us the next day. But just like he said, guys that are going to go out and have some fun, if they show up to practice and bust their butt, you going to have a problem with them, are you? No. I'm going to get a little Mongo-ish here for you guys because I think I need to make you laugh and entertain you. You know what I tell little boys when I do football camps? I don't tell them, look at the press and say, thank God and my teammates. I tell them the truth. I said, if it's your goal to grow up and be rich and famous like me, those little girls are going to use you. Let them. Excuse me, I'm getting a little dry mouth because it's hard following her, for God's sakes. Jesus, sainthood, huh? Mother Teresa I'm following over here. Wow. That's why the Patriots cut me after drafting me after my rookie year. They looked at me and said, Steve, we think you're the criminal element in the league. Get out. But you know who was running the Bears? That old original monster of the Midway, George Halas himself, signed me to my first contract. And you know what he told me in his office? I walked in his office, it was like I was walking into a 1920 gangster movie and he was James Cagney. Because, you know, he had that colloquialism just like they did back then. You know what he said to me, guys? I've heard what kind of dirty rat you are in practice. Don't change, see? And Jimbo Covert, even your offensive line coach, Dick Stanfield, will tell me when it's offensive period, get in there and give him a picture, Steve. So y'all looked at me like I was a bad guy, right? No, it was the owner and your own coach telling me to work on you. You know how I appreciate Jimbo Covert? They did a 30 for 30 biopic, and they talked about the fight we had in practice. And you know, that wasn't enemies. That was like two brothers fighting over the last beer at the company picnic. But you better not mess with my brother, you know. But this is what I got to tell you all these years later, Jimbo, about that fight, because in that biopic he said, we were going to show everybody we weren't going to take that no more. All these years later, you're welcome, Jimbo. Because we quit taking and won that Super Bowl, didn't we? This is what I wanted to tell the Bears last night in their locker room, because you know who our team was, just like him. We didn't want to beat you. We wanted to beat you down. And that went and took care of itself, right? You know what I wanted to come in the locker room and tell them before the game, that team? Well, they won't let you hit them in the head no more like we used to. So what should you do? Go for their freaking throat. That's what you guys love here in Chicago, don't you? You know what I tell every fan in America, because I've been all over. I'll never go back to Bangkok, I'll tell you that. Now, outside of the Catholic confessional, that is true repenting when you wake up the next day and go, I ain't gonna do that no more. Yeah. You know what happened my first practice with Buddy Ryan? You know, because our coaches back in the day, they didn't look at you and pat you on the back. They were gonna look at you and try to motivate you. I think you ain't nothing. And you would go out there and bust your butt to show them there's wrong about you. Well, they got what they wanted, right? Well, the first practice I had, I didn't know who Buddy Ryan was. I'm from Friday Night Lights in Texas. You know, being a star of my little town in Texas. You know, what I experienced in Chicago, it's always been humble and level-headed. Ooh, did I have the big head back then. I'd go to other people's proms to have a police escort because they knew what was in store for me. You know, you guys don't realize that Friday Night Light TV show and everything. I only lost one game in 4 years in high school, so there was some district animosity, right? We would know to get in the floor of the bus leaving those towns because rocks and sometimes bullets coming through the window. That's when I learned don't go to somebody else's prom, they don't want you there. Well, I came to Chicago, thought I knew everything, right? Thought, well, I'm gonna bust my butt for these coaches and they're gonna appreciate me. Buddy Ryan, my eye. Well, my first practice, I didn't know who he was when this little short, fat guy comes walking up to me. Smarting off. Didn't care what your name was till you made some plays for him or he found out you were smart. You guys don't realize that Mongo was to fake him into underestimating me. Joe Theismann still thinks I belong in the nut house. He come walking up to you know what he says? He said, all right, 76. You've been working out because I'm going to work your butt off today. I smarted off back to him. Yeah, Coach, I've got this big black Great Dane. I'm named Roscoe P. Coltrane after that dumbass in the Dukes of Hazzard. It's just smarter than him. He loves to run. I've had him on the leash jogging with him every day. I'm in shape. Little did I know Alan Page, the old purple people eater, who they brought me there to replace because he retired that year, didn't practice one down that year. So I'm in store for every rep that practice. I'm busting my butt, thinking I'm gonna get a break. No. Well, after wind sprints, I'm bent over, starting to dry heave. You know, you get that runner stitch in your side. You know what I mean, Villapiano playing against everybody else, and you want that kind of athlete. You know what that smartass walks up and says to me? Shoot, 76, we should have signed the freaking dog. Not a precursor to greatness, huh? So I don't understand why people and guys play this game for adulation or money and fame. I've never had to work a day in my life playing this game and what it meant for me after. You know, that's a lucky man, isn't it? You ain't never had to work a day in your life and made money. You know, I've had my contemporaries come up to me when I went into pro wrestling. How are you going to disrespect your pro football heads doing that fake crap? I told them one thing and they didn't bring it up no more. You know what it was? 7 figures. I wasn't doing it for free, baby. I made more money wrestling when I was going to Pro Bowl for the Bears, for God's sakes. You know, the McCaskies, beautiful people, a lot of character, cheap. You know, what do you call them? Throwing nickels around like manhole covers? That's their heritage. Well, but now they'll give Khalil Mack $90 million guaranteed. You know what I told him at the 100-year celebration? Now you're going to find out how many family members you got, brother. You know, they give us 30 Super Bowl tickets. We went to the Super Bowl in '85. I didn't get to sell one of them, had that many family members coming. But you know what happened after that? I still ain't seen some of them second and third cousins to this day. And then I went to the Green Bay Packers, and I heard somebody was disgruntled in here about that. Somebody else got to say something. You went to the Packers last year. Let me explain it to you, and all you Bear fans are gonna be all right with it. Can you believe it? This is how it happened. For 13 years, I played for the Bears and beat the Packers every year, so I'll whoop their butt, right? All right, the last year of my career, I went up there on my last leg. I wasn't any good anymore, so I stole their money, whooped their butt again. I'm up here trying to entertain you guys like I said, all these biopics I made, I knew I've got to do an interview with these guys because I knew I had to be the comic relief in that Shakespearean tragedy. But let me finish with this. I've been running around this place like a blushing, giddy schoolgirl. Joe Green's here. I grew up watching him. What a hero of mine he is. But I'm still going to gig him a little bit when he walks up to me and I'm playing for the Packers at Milwaukee Stadium in Milwaukee, and he's the line coach of the Dolphins we're fixing to play. And I didn't like anybody coming up to me, messing with me when I'm out stretching before the team come out. You know, get at me. But he comes up, I'm hero worshiping. I'm smiling at him. Mean Joe Green, oh my God. You know what he says to me? He smarted off to me. He said, well, how much longer are you going to play, old man? And don't heckle a comic, because you know what I said back to him? What's left, coaching? That brings to mind comedians. You know, you live long enough and you got the patience of Job. Finally, one of these days, Tom Dreesen will open up for you, baby. Thank you, Tommy. I hope I ain't funny to you, because that hurts his feelings.
He's gone to his next gig.
Oh, wow. You never know a prostitute till you meet them. Oh, scare me to death. Shapeshifters they are. You know, first thing you should do is offer to give them a scalp massage, and if you feel two little nubs, run. Well, now I'm getting off kilter here. Let me finish up by saying, what an honor and a privilege it's been my whole life here in Chicago. Because you know what one of the proudest things I am of myself when I look in the mirror? I've helped, in these last 40 years around here, I've helped raise more money for charity than I made playing football, baby. And that's why the people that are being honored here are being honored up on this stage. It ain't for what they did in the business world or in the sports world. It's who they are and what they did in society. You know what I mean? People might look at me like, oh, he's mean and ornery. Do you think an archangel kicked Lucifer's ass out of heaven doing it nice? Oh yeah. But you guys, thanks for showing up here. Thanks for being the back of a bunch of old men that are proud and aren't going to ask for something. You know what I tell them? And this is who they are, who Gridiron Greats helps these guys. If it was the other way around, you would help me, wouldn't you? That's why you do what you do in this world. I am my brother's keeper. Thank you for this honor.